Throughout time, we done seen record labels kind of become scammers in the industry. It's like record labels can change an artist's life, but at that same time can be their very downfall. Time and time again, we done seen record labels put artists and put these people in horrible deals that basically ruin their careers. Some of these artists work for years just to get a seat in the music industry, for them to come into contact with a label that don't got their best interest in mind.
And we really got to start looking at music business, or we started to already, but we got to continue to start looking at the music business as modern slavery.
A prime example of this was Lil Uzi Vert, where he publicly went to war with his label for years and years. I mean, we seen this man dropping lines about his label, dissing the label on Twitter, saying stuff about this label any chance he got. I mean, it was so bad to where Uzi dropped his song Free Uzi kinda as a movement to get out of his label. This is how record labels became the biggest scam in music. See, now Lupe Fiasco kind of had one of the most explosive situations when it came to label problems. I mean, so bad to a point where his fans protested outside of his label office just to get the label to drop his next album. Another time, we had Anonymous, the hacker group, come out, telling the label, give us a release date or else. But how did we get here? See, we gotta go all the way back to 05 for this. Lupe Fiasco was around Jay-Z a lot, and at this time, Jay-Z would put in a good word for him over in Atlantic. So they gave him a spot in LA. But what he ain't know was the problems this was gonna cause for him and his career as the years went on. I mean, not too long ago, he would get on the IG with Joe Budden and they would kind of dig into some of the shady stuff these record labels been doing.
Right? So when you come in with plaques, it's a difference from like, I think this might work, this is hot, y'all hating on my style. They don't give a about that. Bars, what you think, how good or bad I can rap? Nigga, I bought you when you just don't respect the creative, artistic expression of music. All you care about is stats and money and your percentages. Even when you bring the money, they stats, they money and their percentages, it's still gonna find a problem to keep you down.
That's what I figured out. That's what I figured out too, Lupe. That's why I retired and got away from these.
Yeah, but I didn't retire. I still want to rap. I still want to make music. I want to find a space that I can make it. I still do. But I don't care about selling records.
Have a blast with that torture. That.
I mean, but I do other.
I
got companies in other countries and all types of
I know. Listen, you far from a dummy, goddamn. I never thought that you was doing bad.
When they first did the 360, you know what I told Lior? Lior didn't know we had and you probably didn't know, nigga. We had a label deal at Atlantic.
See, look, more privilege.
Look at that. The label deal. We didn't have like just a regular ass Lupe signed to Atlantic. I was never signed directly to Atlantic Records. Why would I do that, right? When I sat and had my renegotiation contract with Lior, what did I ask him for? When he wanted a 360 deal, I said, fine, take it. But what do I want?
You didn't ask for your masters, did you?
Of course I did. What did he say?
Get out of my office.
He said, what do you want him in, like a suitcase so you can carry him around with you?
I don't have anything to say, man.
I know.
I don't have anything. But I don't have anything to say because you just talking about the record business. This is the record business.
I know, but again, even with that said, that's not the case with everyone and everywhere. That's not the case with every label. I was trying my damnedest to get to Def Jam. My damnedest. Why? Why? Why?
Lupe.
Ask me why.
Why?
Because I would rather a black man do it to me than a white man.
We got to really get ourselves out of this oppressed state, honestly.
You hear that though?
And we got to, no, that's why I'm saying this to you. And we really got to start looking at music business, or we started to already, but we got to continue to start looking at the music business as modern slavery. Because that's sad.
It's not sad. I'd rather, when I got to act, who all got plaques for the cool?
I do not know, but you had to pay for them, whoever got them.
But for years and years, this man would kind of get into all these weird situations with his label. But what Lupe claims was the worst hit of his career was when he went to war with Atlantic for trying to put him in a 360 deal. And if you don't know what a 360 deal is, just understand, nigga, this is a deal from hell. Basically, they throw you in this 360 deal, they own you, they control you. A 360 deal is the one thing you never want to be in as an artist. And Lupe seen that. He seen them niggas trying to throw him in the 360, so he was like, I'm not going for that. And the record label didn't like that. The Vibe would write this on Lupe. Lupe Fiasco reflects on his early career during an interview on The Way Up with Angela Yee. Within the conversation, he claims to have been presented with an ultimatum from Lyra Cohen, a big person in the industry. People done claimed him as the boogeyman in hip-hop. It's this white man who got a lot of power.
So Leo Cohen was your boss at
Never
one
in
point?
life was he my boss. Ever in life. He was never my boss ever. He might have made someone like a Chatty Patty think that he was my boss. But he never put up a dollar in his life. He was never a boss of mine. He just represented someone else's money. And that's really what makes me mad, is when other people from other cultures represent other money, they act like bosses, but they make sure we know they're our boss. So like Joey IE or Joey Amanda, whatever his name is, he's the head of black music. Why is a white man the head of black music, and what does that have a black man feel? And what did he do to deserve that? What did Todd Moskowitz do to deserve the right to have a business model with Asylum that takes money off of a culture that he doesn't participate in? How can a guy that can't dance tell someone else what records to sell and how, unless it's for his own personal agenda? And then why would people from other cultures tell us what to do, but they can't get no money in their own culture? Did Leo Cohen break a rock and roll group that you know of? Why do more black people know about that white man than white people?
Because he was with Jay-Z and you.
No.
He was basically trying to throw Lupe in the 360 deal. The article would say, in an attempt to force him into a 360, according to the rapper, the alleged conversation occurred after he dropped his second studio album, The Cool. Lupe says, I tell artists this because I think it's important to let the artistic community know I'm not making this up, I'm not gassing anything, and I'll stand for this in the court of law. Lyra was like, yo, if you don't sign this 360 deal, we're not promoting your records. Not only are we not promoting your records, we're not even promoting the records that we gave you. He said, I'm only 2 albums in, I don't mind. Matter of fact, I'll help you build out the 360 piece, at least when it comes to fashion. In the end, Fiasco's offer was declined. He says, I didn't sign and my career was like goodbye. My career ended at Lasers. And Lasers is the album that will cause so many problems for Lupe. So he trying to put out this album. This like 08, 09, and the album was done. But the label kept pushing it back. They kept pushing it back more and more. And it basically got to a point where they was holding it hostage. Kind of like how YouTube holding my goddamn play button hostage, but I'm not about to dig into that. I hit 100K in March and they just not giving me no play button. That's off topic. But this album was delayed so many times. 2 years went by. Even though the album was done, the fans still couldn't get it. And the fans was fiending. I mean, fiending so bad for this project, I'm not over exaggerating. There was a period of time where fans sparked up a petition begging his record label to let him drop his album. It had over 30,000 signatures on it. And so for a long time, we had Lupe fighting for this album, just fighting for some that he made to come out. But where everything would change is when his fans got tired of it. Not him, nigga, the fans got tired of it. So they was like, look, we about to create Fiasco Friday. He probably wondering, Prince, what the hell is Fiasco Friday? Well, this was a plan that Lupe fans created online. Basically, they came together as a collective and said, you know what, we going to this nigga record label office and we about to sit out here with signs begging this record label, not even begging, protesting against this record label, trying to get them niggas to drop this album. And keep in mind what I said, this was his fans, this wasn't him. And when he seen that his fans was doing all of this for him, he pulled up. And it's actually footage of this day online. And basically, Atlanta was holding the album back because they felt like the album didn't really have any commercial singles on it and it wasn't too marketable. Basically, they were scared for Lupe's album, so they threw that bitch on the shelf like he didn't spend all of this time working on this album. The record label held this album back because they wanted to. And then they were trying to force him to change his sound. They wanted him to go in a completely different direction. And in 2022, he would kind of open up about some of the problems that he done had with this label. A fan would tweet at Lupe and say, this comes down to having a stable label. Atlantic Records was trying to push pop records heavy during that 07 to 2014 time frame. And Lupe didn't want to conform. And he would respond and say, not accurate. I was comfortable making pop records. The issue was who controlled these records and what the ownership and splits were. Atlantic would only promote my records if they own a large portion of them, or if I signed a 360 deal. I gave Bruno Mars Just the Way You Are. Then he would send out another tweet that say, I cannot guarantee we'll promote your records. Then another tweet would say, I cannot guarantee we'll promote your records if you're not a 360 artist on this label. Liar Cohen said, president of Warner Music back in 08. Then he would send out another quote, we don't think Battle Scars is a good look for you, so we're not gonna sign off on the release. Mike Kaiser, head of Urban Atlantic Records in 2012. Then he would say, I don't mind being controlled as a team, let's win as a team. But they were calling fouls on our own plays after we already won the game. I was like, what is y'all doing? And after the cool I was done, I stuck around to complete my contract, but I checked out in 09. I only put this out there again and again because folks think I be too full of an ego and that I'm some hard to work with artists, etc. But I've been in some deeply whack situations in this business that took all kind of adjustments to stay sane and progress. I protect my peace at all costs. So just understand, Lupe done had a real rough time with his label and everything that they done threw at him and everything that they done to him. But what makes it all worse and what makes the label look so much worse was Lasers would come out, right? And you know what the label say? Oh, we scared it. It don't got no commercial success for real. My nigga, why this album came out, did 200,000 copies first week, 204,000 copies first week, and the record label was afraid to drop it? Nigga, that's crazy. See, this situation with Lupe is just one of the times where something like this played out for the better. Imagine other situations. Imagine if he wasn't who he was and he didn't have the fan base to support him and he didn't have the niggas coming behind him to push this label and kind of force them to drop this project. What if it was somebody smaller who didn't have the pool he had? This would have been a whole different story. This would have been an artist that got lost in the crowd, a sea, hundreds of artists that these record labels done ruined, that these record labels done threw on the shelf because, oh, they scared. They think these artists is not it. Like, these artists don't got the talent that they be having. Imagine how many albums and how many smash songs that record labels done held back over time that could have been huge. And I mean, another example of this, Lil Uzi Vert, like I talked about at the start. Now, Lil Uzi Vert had one of the biggest fallouts with his label in recent times. Let's go back some years, 2015, 14, 16. We had Uzi really becoming the face of modern day music, modern day rap. He was right here and he became this huge artist. He built this cult fan base quick as hell and they done stuck around. So Uzi comes out, you know, early in his career. He dropping big songs and he will make a decision that would change the course of his career. And he signs a deal, not a regular deal, but a deal with DJ Drama and Generation. Now, and so they signed and shit cool for a little bit, but the first time we would see Uzi kind of having problems with his label will be in November 2016. You know, Uzi coming off hella music. He buzzing right now. Like Uzi, people looking at Uzi like, oh yeah, he the next big thing. And he really was. And this was in 2015, 2016, like right around that time he blowing up. So November 2016 would come around and Uzi would announce Love Is Rage 2. And he would tell the world this tape was coming out in November of that year. But November came and went. And the project didn't actually release until August of 2017, almost a full year later. And guess where Uzi pointed the blame for this? He pointed the blame right toward his label, right toward DJ Drama. And Uzi was basically on some, these old niggas don't understand what I'm trying to do. And as time would go on, we would get more and more context. Basically, Don Cannon and the label felt like, number one, the album wasn't done. And number two, that they felt like Uzi was quote unquote suffering from success. Genius would write this: Uzi pointed the finger at DJ Drama saying he old and don't understand what's going on and was responsible for the delay. Don Cannon would claim that the album wasn't done, but Joe Budden later on revealed in the episode of the Budden podcast that Atlantic Records executive Michael Kaiser, the same nigga that Lupe Fiasco was quoting, would say this: Uzi had become a victim of his own success. He doing 50 million streams a week. Why do I need to put an album out? Is what Kaiser reportedly told Budden. That's the problem with these record labels. Now, granted, record labels do a lot. You know, they give you promotion, they get you connections, they put you with this artist, with that artist. But at that same time, you lose control over your career. Like, imagine this. You go your whole life, you making music, all you can dream of is, you know, I want to be a rapper. Just for a nigga to tell you, man, hell no, you getting streams, I'm not letting you drop. I think anybody would feel away in that situation. But fast forward, Love Is Rage 2 did get released and went on to be, you know, certified platinum. in less than a year. Not only that, it had a smash hit on him. So Love Is Raised 2 comes out in 2017, smash hit on there, ASO Tour Life. A loved album. But from this moment forward, Uzi's career would musically dry up. And I'm not saying his career was dying. I'm not saying the nigga was falling off. I mean, quite literally, musically, fans weren't getting nothing. Uzi fans kind of thrived off leaks just like Cardi fans, because Uzi was claiming that he couldn't drop no music. I mean, January 2018, we would see Uzi come out and publicly get into it with his label, publicly get into it with DJ Drama, Generation Now. He would get on Twitter and say this: and if y'all do sign to a major, don't sign to a rapper or a DJ. It's just easier when time comes for that fake stuff. And Drama will respond, let's state the facts and who really on some fake stuff. Uzi would say back, I was giving advice to my young followers. You got a guilty conscience or something? Then Uzi would say, Don Cannon real, but F the rest of them. And so 2018, 2019, we see Uzi kind of teasing his next project, Eternal Take. But it wasn't dropping. He would always bring up Eternal Take. You know, he posting album covers years before the album come out. He teasing it all the time. But like I said, it wasn't dropping. And he couldn't drop it. And at one point, he would get on the IG Live and say this: you think I don't want to drop music? You just got to understand when people don't love you, they'll hold your life if you sign. Hold that against you. And that go for the streets too. You ain't supposed to sign no paper in the streets because that's ratting. How am I supposed to even sign this shit as a deal? Man, I set myself up. What other way I was supposed to let this go? And in 2019, after, you know, he basically coming out, dissing his label, talking all of this, he would kind of retire. Now, he was yapping. Y'all know that nigga Uzi real emotional. He was probably emotional. He didn't quit music. He still make music to this day. But he would get on IG saying this: I want to take the time out to say I thank each and every one of my supporters, but I'm done with music. I deleted everything. I want to be normal. I want to wake up in 2013. Thank you, love. But even though Uzi said that, 2019, we would still see him, you know, trying to get out of this deal, just trying to get away from his label. But where Uzi kind of started a movement was where he would drop his song Free Uzi. Now that song title itself is a nod to what fans have been saying about Uzi for years. Fans begged Uzi to be free. So Uzi dropped the song with this title to, you know, try to be free. But it ain't come out smooth. Because think about it. Would the label actually let Uzi drop a song where the whole thing is him being free from the niggas, him being free from under them? Uzi would drop this song on streaming himself through DistroKid, not by the label. So the song comes out on streaming. People like, damn, Uzi dropped. Until you know what happened. Do I even gotta tell you, nigga? Less than a day later, label took that song down. And it's on YouTube, it's on SoundCloud, but that song will never be on streaming again. Then on top of everything, at the same time Uzi doing all of this, he signed a management deal with Jay-Z and Roc Nation. And a big conversation that got sparked up around this time was, is Jay-Z here to save Lil Uzi's career from this label? And Drama would come back and do an interview like in the future, nigga, a couple years ago. He would do an interview. He responded to everything that Uzi threw on his name, responded to the claims that Roc Nation came and saved Uzi from him and Generation Now.
You know, that happens between family. Like, and one of the reasons why it was a tough spot for us is because Vert's success was our success. You know what I'm saying? So necessarily coming out and feeling like we wanted to defend ourselves, because we took a lot of heat. Yeah. Like, you know, it was like Generation Now, you know, and even with the Roc Nation situation, like Roc Nation was put in the media as if they saved little Uzi Vert's career, and you know, it was a free Uzi campaign. And then,
I remember that shit.
Yeah, and then it came.
I remember that.
Roc Nation saves little Uzi. Saves him from who? From 3 young black men met in college at Clark Atlanta and Morehouse, who grew up on hip hop, who were best friends, who then came into the game, changed the game, and then created a label. Like, we're not culture vultures. Like, we are the epitome of the dream. What did y'all save him from? Yeah. We didn't do nothing wrong by that kid. All we did was help make him a superstar. Lake
never getting a Jay-Z.
Lake was an amazing manager. Cannon was right there, you know, with his sound. You know, I was DJ Drama waving the Uzi flag. It didn't have to go down like that. And, you know, I love Jay-Z. And this is not necessarily a criticism of him per se, but yeah, like, come on now, like, like why was the spin Roc Nation saves little Uzi Vert's career? Like yo, like we're like 3 young black men that like made it from DJing parties for $150 to going on to having an illustrious label after Cannon makes some of the biggest records in hip hop, and after DJ Drama creates Gangsta Grills. Like, don't paint us out to be the bad guys. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
But fast forward 2020, we would have Uzi finally drop his long-awaited album, Eternal Take, to 300,000 copies first week. And even past this album, even after all of these years of seeing Uzi doing this and facing all these label problems, Uzi still is facing label problems. Now, we don't know if it's as bad as they once were. We don't know really what's going on for sure, but we do know Uzi is feeling a way about his label, because last year he would come and drop EA2. Now, if you was paying attention to EA2 when that shit came out, you remember this was probably the most poorly received, if not Uzi's worst album ever, and the whole internet was clowning it. It was one of the worst albums that came out last year, if I'm being honest. And this album was so bad that fans were coming up with a million excuses. And one of these excuses was that he was trying to pull a Frank Ocean. And what I mean by that is dropping a bad project before the good album to get out of his deal. An article will write this: Lil Uzi Vert seems to have hinted that their last album, Eternal Take 2, was released mainly to meet contractual obligations and exit their label deal. The single to Uzi's hit 2020 album faced a lukewarm reception from fans and critics when it dropped earlier this month. Speculation about the album's purpose intensified after a fan commented on Uzi's recent IG post saying, "You pulled a Frank Ocean and EA2 was your endless to get out of your deal," with a question mark. While Uzi didn't respond directly, he liked the comment implying that there might be some truth to the label-related theory. Now, this leads us directly to Frank Ocean, who had the most infamous situation with a record label. I mean, this was a once-in-a-lifetime situation he pulled with his label. I don't think we could ever see another artist pull this again. Frank Ocean a talented dude, but the label didn't see it this way at first. His label was basically feeling like he wasn't as good as he actually was, kind of scamming him out of a career, kind of holding him back. And like what other people I spoke about in this video, Frank was facing label problems. 2009, we would see Frank sign to Def Jam, and like I said before, they did not believe in this nigga. So Frank kind of took his careers in his own hand, and this man would drop Nostalgia without the permission of his label, and the internet loved it. This album got so much praise and so much love that the label couldn't keep this man on the shelf no more. And Tricky Stewart, the producer that kinda pushed Frank Ocean and got him signed with Def Jam, nigga that's a 5-time Grammy winner, he done produced hella big songs, he would come out saying that he made a mistake getting Frank Ocean on Def Jam. He would say, Frank came in with the best intentions of being a great artist to a label. He was looking at it with an open mind, but bringing him into Def Jam was a little bit of a disaster. It was probably, in hindsight, a huge mistake on my part. The label wasn't motivated by the signing. They didn't give him any respect that I thought he deserved. I couldn't even get Def Jam to respond to him in a way that I wanted them to respond to him. Stewart explains that he and Frank kept getting stonewalled every time they tried bringing music to the label. He said he couldn't get nobody to pay attention to him. And on the Def Jam side, they dismissed his music as quote-unquote old R&B. Tired of being ignored, Frank Ocean released Nostalgia Ultra, the album that I was speaking on. Stewart says in that moment, we lost Frank Ocean as a major record company and from the industry as we knew it. So Frank comes out a year after he dropped Nostalgia Ultra, and the label's like, okay, you get a budget, we'll mess with you, we'll rock with you. He comes out, he drops Channel Orange, and y'all know that album. Grammy-winning album. But that was it for a while. He dropped this amazing album, but we didn't get nothing. Nothing for 4 years. And we really wouldn't even hear from Frank until it was time for him to drop again. He still felt the way about his label though, because remember, they disrespected this nigga for a long time, and they was probably disrespecting him throughout that time he wasn't here. So fans waited. In 2016 would come around, and this is when Frank, would get to talking about new music, get to promoting new music. And this rollout will be real interesting. A video will pop up online, well, really a live stream will pop up online of Frank building. He building stairs, and for a long time, he would be doing all of this, and he would basically create a visual album called Endless. A very strange album that's only available on Apple Music, but nonetheless, a real deal album. A real album that was under his contract with his record label. So this visual album drops, fans throw it off a little bit, but they didn't even have time to really digest what was in front of them. He drops this project, gets out of his deal with Def Jam, and this nigga didn't waste no time at all. Next day, Frank announced Blonde, his actual album. And along with this was an Apple Music deal that people speculating was worth $20 million. So Frank Ocean was in a deal with Def Jam, drops a weird visual album, then turns around and he's independent at this point and drops Blonde, the album that took over the industry. He finessed the hell out of his label and gained the rights to his actual album, leaving the rights of Endless behind with his label. So his label thinking, oh yeah, we got an album. No. Frank Ocean was holding the album. And Frank called this a 7-year chess game with his label. Forbes will write this: Def Jam released Ocean from his deal in September 2016, a relationship described as a bad marriage by Spin magazine, who also reported the album's release from his deal was negotiated, a condition of a split that allowed Def Jam to distribute Frank Ocean's album Endless while then freeing Frank Ocean to release Blonde under his own imprint. In a recent interview from New York Times, Frank Ocean described his deal with Def Jam as a 7-year chess game and used his own money to buy himself out of a contract and reclaim his master recordings. Frank Ocean's 7-year chess games refers to the 7-album deal structure typical for major labels. Major labels will sign an artist to a 7-album deal, meaning the artist is obligated to release 7 albums with the label. This concept can be deceiving to those who don't understand the structure because of the length, because of the contract tied to the number of albums released rather than the term of years. 50 years ago, the industry moved at a pace where an artist could release an album once per year and then be done with the contract in 7 years. So record labels are very interesting. Like I said at the start, they're good and bad. You know, they give you a lot. They open up a career if you get the right label, if you get the right contract, if them niggas pass you the right deal. Because on one hand, you know, we got, we can blow you up. We can give you a #1 single. We can, nigga, bought your albums. Like we see everybody. Like what Young Thug just said, we buying albums.
Cash called me one day like, hey, what the hell going on with Gunna? Who's speaking for him? I'm like, wow. I'm like, oh, I'm next. You know, he trying to get signed right here with Weeknd signed it. So I already done told him, like, whatever you want, just say it. I'm going to give you the money, whatever you want. Nigga, I know you can't go nowhere in this world and get no $20 million check from no label. You're not doing numbers like that. You all right, but you ain't doing that like that. The #1 album you just had right now, I paid for you to have a #1 album. You didn't, you know what I'm saying, honestly earn a #1 album over the weekend, my boy. I paid. I never said that to him. I never told him that. You know, cause we just got the plug on that. You never earned a #1 album. I spent $50 extra grand buying streams, $50,000 buying streams for you. And Cash know the same plug, so Cash could have did the same thing. But Cash like let it go. Cash just like spent down, like, man, let the nigga on the way. I ain't standing shit. He did a little deal. He got some little signs from his hood, whatever. Some young niggas too. These niggas like 17, 18, like real kids, baby.
Then on the other hand, we got labels that want full creativity control, full control of your career. They tell you what you can and can't drop. They say, hey, you're not putting this out. I don't give a damn how hard you worked on it. We're not putting it out because we don't want to. We seen that with Uzi. That nigga said Uzi doing 50 million streams. I'm not telling him to drop that. I feel like artists having problems with record labels is an endless cycle. This is something we're going to see until the end of time. As long as we got record labels and musicians, it's going to be problems because keep in mind, these are creative individuals. This is like a YouTuber losing full creative control of their videos. They can only drop what another nigga tell them to drop. These record labels be controlling people like that, and these are people. These aren't corporations. This ain't a company. This ain't a board of niggas. You are controlling one man. So of course this one man or one woman is gonna have a problem if they lose everything, if they lose full control of their career. And even though sometimes, you know, record labels might try to make it seem like they have the best interest in mind, it's a numbers game. They're focused on profit over creativity, over real music, over somebody putting out what they really want to put out. They want money. You sign to a label. Only thing they care about from that moment forward is how much money you can make them niggas. Now this kind of leads into Autumn, this underground rapper. If you know who Autumn is, we're not getting into all the bullshit today. But he would get on his story just yesterday, it might have been the day before that, and he would really speak about labels, about problems, about little weird things that goes on with labels. He would get on his story and say this: see so many creatives get taken advantage of by labels. I could really teach a masterclass on music business and teach y'all how I make labels owe me instead of the other way around. How to avoid lawyers that work with labels, how to get every penny from your music, how to mix, promote, preview, etc. I don't know. It's been on my mind for a while. I got so much knowledge that even major artists don't have. Feel like it would be so much fun because I see potential in a lot of artists before they blow and they always sign shitty deals. I'm already set off music for life. I would love to help y'all be set, and truth be told, I want to start a label. I got the connections. I want to sign people. Some of y'all go crazy. Y'all just need some guidance. So I don't think Autumn is wrong. Not only do these record labels, you know, strip creativity from these artists, they also tend to take so much money from these artists. A lot of artists don't make money off of their actual music because of labels. Because you sign this deal, now you gotta give this label a percentage of money. And it be a lot of money. A lot of these artists in reality don't be having like y'all think they having. Go through YouTube, look at how many different videos talking about why your favorite artist is broke, why your artists don't got no money, why rappers' lives are facades. A lot of this shit don't be real. I'ma play you this clip of Brent Faiyaz talking about this. He was like, damn, like I'm around all these other niggas and I'm looking like, this rapper got money, this nigga got money, but where's my money?
It was a time where I thought that everybody had money except me. Like every new artist, I guess, but I thought everybody had money and I didn't have no money. Like I would see motherfuckers do these music video shoots and motherfuckers got chains and cars and all type, and I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment with 4 motherfuckers, you feel me? So there was a time where I was really thinking, bro, why do everybody got money and I don't got no money? Is it because I'm independent? Nah, the truth is everybody didn't have no money. There's a lot of that didn't have no damn money, but they don't tell you that because the label's job is to make it look like you got some money. The cosigns we gonna put you in the studio with this motherfucker. We gonna have cameras following you around everywhere you go, and I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking like, damn, everybody getting money but me. But nah, everybody looked like they got money except me.
Yeah.
But listen to what Autumn said though. He wasn't lying. If you a new artist, be careful with whatever deal you sign, because you can sign a deal that could either change your life or a deal that'll make your life miserable. Y'all gotta be careful with what y'all sign, because a lot of times record labels don't have your best interest in mind. They have their best interest in mind. How do y'all feel about record labels? Do y'all think they're a scam, or do you think it just depends on the situation?